announcement. We're going to be praying for revival in the performance room tomorrow at 7 a.m. If you want to come, pray for your school, pray for revival, that's a good time to do it. Or if you just want to come just to pray, that's cool too. And if you guys want to stand, we'll worship them. You can come down front as well.
Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for letting us just have the opportunity to come here and learn about you. And I pray that you'll give the speakers today that their words will not be their words, but will be yours. And that you will just speak to us and move through this place today. Just in Christ's name.
We have a special speaker this morning, and Lord Blank, who is the youth pastor at Ridgecrest Baptist Church, will come and introduce our speaker.
Good morning, Emmanuel Christian School. It's good to be here with you this morning. And you guys in for a special treat. I just want to take just a moment to introduce the guys who are going to be bringing the message this morning. His name's Bill Searcy. He won 2 national championships at the University of Alabama, played under Coach Bear Bryant in the late 70s, went on to play professional football. He's going to share a little bit about his story. He was also on the A&E program, The Heavy. He'll tell you a little bit about that too. Went on to write a book called High Tide, a story about football forgiveness and free fall, or football free fall and forgiveness. And it's just, you're going to really enjoy it. I've heard him speak twice already in the past couple of days. He's got a phenomenal story. I encourage you to really lean into what he's got to say today. So often we come to chapel, we're like, oh, it's just another day. It's another Thursday. It's chapel day. And we sing a few songs and we hear speakers and going about our day. But I really believe that God wants to do something special in your life this morning. He's going to be able to speak to you. So I really want you to pay close attention. Okay, don't let it be another story or another speaker that you hear. But man, let God speak to your heart this morning. Give a warm Emmanuel welcome to this event.
My turn? Yeah. How is everybody this morning? Oh, come on. Y'all got to give me more than that. How is everybody this morning? Can I take y'all picture? Come on, smile, wave, something. Come on. I'm going to put this on my Facebook page. And I got like 5,000 friends on Facebook, so. All right. Was anybody at, by any chance, anybody here at Fields of Faith last night? Awesome, huh? Awesome. I don't know how many people were there. We're guessing 1,200 maybe. Most of them your age, some younger, some older, basically your age. If I understand right, this is 6th through 12th grade, correct? So we do have people in here as young as 12, 11, 12, on up. That's important to the story, that's why I'm asking. My name's Bill Searcy. I live in Birmingham, Alabama now, but I grew up in Savannah, Georgia. I grew up in it's not a story of where I was abused or where my parents were divorced or separated. I grew up in a good home. I grew up in a kind of a middle class home. My dad was an attorney. My mom worked off and on, but mostly was a great mom and a housewife. I went to public schools until I was in the 9th grade, and I went to an all-boys Catholic military school. See, y'all thought you had it tough. The reason I went there was because at a young age, I started displaying, let's say, a lack of discipline. I was doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing. The reason I asked about your ages is because I started drinking and doing drugs when I was 12 years old. Odd part of the story, though, is that from as long as I can remember, when I was about 6 years old on up, I played football, I watched football, listened to it on the radio. I loved football. Football was my life. I never remember dreaming of anything as a kid other than I wanted to be a football player. That meant from high school I wanted to go to college, and from college, hopefully the NFL. A lot of people have that dream. Not many people ever get to realize that. When you have a dream, you would think that you would do everything in your power possible to do positive things to realize that dream. Obviously, we all have some God-given ability to do something special. Jeremiah 29:11 tells me that, so I believe. That God has a plan for my life to prosper and not to harm me. Same for you. I don't know what your plan is. I don't know what God has for you. That's between you and God. You'll figure it out. But I thought early on in my life that it was to be a football player. And I worked extremely hard to become a good football player. When I was your age, 12, 13, starting about that time, I became very dedicated to lifting weights, to working out, to running, at the cost of probably having a great social life or whatever else there is in high school. I worked out all the time and did a lot of things, but also I started drinking, like I just told you. I got involved with the wrong people at a really, really young age and just started kind of following and not being a leader. But by the time I was through with high school, by the time I was a senior in high school, I had become an All-American, a high school All-American. I was one of the top 25 football players in the country in high school, which meant I had a choice if I could pretty much go wherever I wanted to go to play college football. I grew up in Georgia. I was a Georgia fan. The Georgia head coach had come and sat in my living room, talked to my mom and dad and asked them if I could come to Georgia. You guys are too young to remember my coach, Coach Brian at Alabama, came to my house and did the same thing. My mom told me I was going to Alabama. So I came to Alabama. Also, I wanted to be on the national championship team, and I thought at that time that Alabama was the place that I would best have a chance to be on the national championship team. So I came to Alabama, played at Alabama. Problem was at Alabama, my off-the-field activities started getting worse. See, I could always find those people that were like-minded like me. The ones that like to drink, that like to do drugs, that like to stay out too late, do all the wrong things. If you do all the wrong things off the field, if you're a football player, what you're doing on the field cannot be a good thing. You'll never live up to your potential. So because of that, I really never became the football player that I should have been when I was in college. Even though I said I wanted to be a great football player, what I said and what I did was two different things. My head coach would reprimand me, he would get in trouble. 1 week I was starting, 1 week I was at home when the team was playing. One week I was going to class, the next week I just didn't go to class. So you never knew what I was going to do. I never knew what I was going to do. You never knew what trouble I was going to be in. You never knew how I was going to respond to your discipline of me, because I thought I knew all the answers. There was no God in my life at that time, so I was making all the moves. I was trying to make all the decisions. By the time I was through at Alabama, I'd been on, like I said, 2 national championship teams in 1978, 1979. I played in 4 bowl games. I'd been a lot of places, done a lot of things, met a lot of famous people. Still, there was something extremely valuable missing in my life. I just didn't know what it was. So I tried to fill that, what was missing, with alcohol and drugs. You heard me say I started when I was 12. You have to understand the decisions you're making now at 12, 13, 14, and on up will affect you when you're 50. Just trust me on that. I got a book, you can read it, I promise. The decisions you're making now are going to affect what you do when you're an adult and when you have children. Those bad decisions start stacking one on top of another. After you make it that decision the first time to do something wrong, the next one becomes easier. The third one becomes even easier. And after a while, it's just, you don't even think about it. You're just making bad decisions all the time. And you're going to get response from that. You're going to get there's repercussions from everything we do and say. So, Alabama, led her 3 years at Alabama, had opportunity to go to the NFL. My lifelong dream was about to come true. I was going to play in the NFL. In my thinking, I thought, see, I can do whatever I want to do to play in the NFL. All those things those adults told me were wrong. So the first team I went to was the Detroit Lions, and I went to training camp, and I was doing well. We got towards the end of training camp, almost to the last cut. I thought I was getting ready to make it. Coach decides he's going to let us go out into town without a night curfew. We could stay out as late as we wanted to. And me and a teammate went out to Detroit to a bar, got into a fight. 2 other men got hurt. They went to the hospital. The next morning, the coach asked the team and the team meeting, who were the 2 players that were out last night that got in a fight? Of course, I had to raise my hand. And I got cut. So my dream of playing in the NFL, because of one night of foolishness, one night of bad decisions, I thought was over. Luckily enough, I guess I had done well enough to training camp, even though I got into trouble. The team told me that there was a new league starting. You won't know anything about this, but there's another football league that played in the spring a long time ago. And they asked me if I'd be interested in playing in that league. And I said, yes, I would. So the next year, my dream was about to come true again, another opportunity. So once again, you think, well, surely he did all the right things. He stayed out of trouble. He didn't do those things. He stopped drinking. He stopped doing drugs. No, that's not the story. The story is, because there's still no guidance in my life, there's still no Jesus in my life, there's still no God in my life, that Bill's still making all the decisions. So I did go to the team I was supposed to go to in Birmingham. I did make the team, and I did play. But I had become involved with some other drugs. There were steroids involved now, and there was cocaine involved now, and there were pills involved now. And when I had a little bit of time, I played football too. I got traded to another team, went to Houston, another night without curfew, went to a bar, got in a fight. You see kind of a recurring theme here, guys? Bad decisions on bad decisions on bad decisions. The police came to arrest me, and I got in a fight with a policeman. 2 policemen go to the hospital. I go to jail for 2 felonies of assaulting police officers. The team comes and gets me out of jail. I get in a fight with the coach. I get kicked off the team again. My dream once again goes away. The league, nobody in the league would talk to me, because they said the word was he's out of control, he's a loose cannon, you never know what he's going to do, he's going to kill somebody, or himself. See, in life, you either become an asset or a liability to the people you work for, to your family, to the people around you, to your school. Asset, liability. Asset's a good thing. means you make good things happen. Liability, not so much. I was a liability, nobody wanted to touch me. But a year goes by, and once again, football calls back. NFL this time, the San Diego Chargers asked me to come out and work out for them, and I do, and I make the team. And I played in San Diego and actually stayed out of trouble for one time. I just didn't get caught. I didn't do anything different, I just didn't get caught. So at 27, 28 years old, football career was over. I didn't finish college because I never thought I needed an education. I had football no more, that was the only thing I had ever had. I had extremely bad drug habit and a really bad drinking habit. And I was working in a bar, making $10 an hour. One day I was at the NFL, the next week literally I was picking up beer cans in a parking lot, working for somebody else. See, my dream was over. That little bit of time that playing football was done. But I had nothing to go back to. See, I had no foundation. I had built no foundation. I'm sure your teachers here, you hear in chapel, and you've heard in church before about building a strong foundation. But I had no foundation. My foundation was gone. So I was living in South Carolina, working in a bar, lost, no direction, had no clue what I was going to do. And I had some friends that were in the drug business. So I decided I would get in the drug business because I believed what I read in the papers and saw on TV, that I could become very wealthy in the drug business, that it was glamorous. It's not so glamorous. The people I dealt with were very bad people. They did very bad things. I became one of them. My drug kingpin career ended when I woke up with a pistol in my mouth because I owed a drug dealer $10,000. See, in that world, you don't do things like that. The way they settle disputes is they murder people. But that was the world I had chosen to live in. Well, obviously, I didn't get killed. I was able to get out of that situation, and I swore then that I'd never do this again. I'm going to pack my stuff, I'm going to move, I'm going to back to Alabama, I'm going to change my mind. I did exactly that day. I packed, left, came back to Alabama. Problem is, there was no change in my heart. There was no change in me spiritually. I was still the same person. I was just a little more scared. So I came to Birmingham, and I bet I wasn't here a week in Alabama. And I started doing exactly what I knew how to do, which was the only thing I did know how to do, and that was deal drugs. In the midst of all the craziness, I had met a girl. For whatever reason, she loved me. I don't know why. And she told me that she was going to leave me unless I changed my life. So I decided I would go to rehab. That was the first rehab. That was a long, long time ago before you guys were even born. And I went to rehab a couple of times. I finally got off drugs and alcohol. But nobody ever told me about Jesus. I just got off drugs and alcohol. I was the same person inside. I was still empty. I was still lost. I just wasn't doing drugs and alcohol. I still was making bad decisions, basically. But I just wasn't drinking. Well, time went by, about 10 years went by, and in the midst of that 10 years, good things did happen. I got married. I had a son. I got a job in the real estate business in Birmingham. Had a great career. Loved what I was doing. Was passionate about what I did. Loved it. I loved it as much as I had loved football. And I thought, I'm finally in the right place. My son was growing up. I lived in a beautiful home out in the country. I had horses in the pasture. It's like a picture somebody painted. I mean, literally it was. I had to go to the hospital after 10 years. No drinking, no drugs. 10 years. I had to go to the ceiling. Let me back up this second and explain something to you. Satan is extremely patient. He will wait. He will wait on you. He will continue to attack you. He will never give up. If you don't have a defense, you're in trouble. So he waited on me. I had no defense. He knew that. I went to a hospital because I had a health problem, legitimate health problem. I had to have pain medicine. They gave me that pain medicine. You could almost say I was immediately addicted to that pain. Because I remember thinking when they gave me the pain medicine, when that pain medicine started taking effect, I remember thinking, if I can feel like this for the rest of my life, everything's going to be great. Because I felt great. I didn't understand what was going on. Over a series of time, I had to have some operations, and pain medicine was being used because it had to be used. But I became addicted, literally addicted to pain medicine. I had never had a problem with pain medicine before. I'd never done pain medicine before. I'd been addicted to everything else you can imagine, but not pain medicine. See, Satan found that one. He knew where my weakness was. He knew I had no defense. So I started living a life as a drug addict, but not a drug addict like you think about on the street, but a drug addict who had a coat and a towel and was working in an office, who had a son at home and a wife at home, and was paying bills for a while when things gradually got worse. As time went by, eventually by 2004, I was bankrupt. I had lost all my money, had spent all my money. I was divorced. I lost my family, lost my home. I had pawned my son's Xbox for drugs. I had pawned two national championship rings from Alabama for drugs. I had pawned all my bowl watches for drugs. My wife's wedding ring, my wife's jewelry, everything for drugs. I was willing to give up all those things that I said that I loved for drugs. It all started when I was what? 12. And it just continued to escalate until I'm in my 40s. So don't tell me what you do now doesn't affect what you do later. You think the story ends here, but no, not yet. Almost. I'm almost done. August 2004, everything's gone. I have nowhere to go. I'm homeless in Birmingham, Alabama. I played for Alabama. I played in the NFL. I did the real estate business. Now I'm homeless in Alabama, living on the streets in Birmingham, Alabama. Lived in the car for a while, lost the car, lived in a tent in the woods by some railroad tracks. For 2 years, I wandered the streets of Birmingham, homeless, lost, not knowing what I was going to do, begging for money, stealing for money, lying and cheating, whatever it took to get drugs every day. That was my life. My son, I went to jail and spent Thanksgiving of 2006 in jail. When I got out of jail, my son and my ex-wife came and found me on the street where I was living and asked me if I would try to get myself back together one more time. And by that time, I had been in all the rehabs and all the psychiatric wards and all the hospitals and jails and everything else in Birmingham. I was just tired. I was exhausted. And I told him that I wouldn't go. I won't go again. Really and truly, what I wanted to do was die. I wanted to just go to sleep and die. That was my prayer every night, that I just wouldn't wake up the next day. I just kept waking up. God just kept waking me up. I just couldn't figure it out because I was trying everything I knew to do not to be here. So when they came to see me, I said, look, I can't do it. I can't do another rehab. I can't get analyzed one more time. I can't do any of that stuff. And my son was 14 at the time, same age as some of you sitting here. And he looked at me and he said, Dad, I really need my dad back. And I said, well, I'm right here. And he said, you're not here. Even when I'm with you, you're not really here. My dad's not here anymore. And he said, I'm afraid you're going to die. And I said, well, if I die, I'll see you in heaven. And he said, no, Dad, you're not going to heaven. Well, I don't know if it was him saying that scared me, or it was him crying, whatever it was. But I decided I would go one more time and try to get my life back together. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think there was any way, but I figured I'd try just for him. And I ended up in a place called Canaan Land, which is in Otagoville, Alabama. Canaan Land is a place where men that are homeless or coming out of jail or coming out of prison go. It's a year-long program. It's a Christian organization. It's privately owned, and it's owned by a guy who was an outlaw biker who broke for the Hells Angels for a long time. And it changed his life a long time ago. He did this just to help people like me. And I got dropped off to Canaan Land with an old garbage bag full of dirty clothes. Everything I owned was in a garbage bag. And that day, January 7th, 2007, I walked into Canaan Land. thinking there was no possible way my life was ever going to be better. And the man that owned it, Mac over, came and hugged me, which was strange to me at the time. He told me that God loved me and that God was not mad at me. And that if I would listen to what they were teaching in that Bible school, that my life was going to take a drastic change, that my life was going to be better than I ever could imagine. It would be better than it ever was before. And I agreed with him, but I didn't believe it. So I just started doing what they asked me to do because I had no choice. I had nowhere else to go. And we went to 3 Bible classes a day, 8, 9, and 10 o'clock, every day. Praise and worship in the morning at 5:30, praise and worship at night at 8 o'clock. And 12 to 5, I had to work around the property to pay my way there. It was all about Jesus the whole time with it. So on January 7th, the first day there in 2007, I prayed that Jesus would come into my life and be my Lord and Savior. I prayed that he would just help me through this time, because I knew I was getting ready to go through drug withdrawals. My body was full of them. I've been on them for years and years and years. So on January 7th, 2007, I started doing the things I was supposed to do, just trying to do the same. Not believing really that there was anything